Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is The Interview. And today we have Rachel's Ghost from the Rachel's Ghost TV show on the Rachel's Ghost YouTube channel. And she is beautifully complex, but we're kicking off with a track from a band called Seven Horse, and this is Hippies on Acid.
Hippies on acid, yeah. 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 Hippies on acid. Walking down the street, I got them tired of watching TV blues. People driving in the sleep, stop signs and not amused. Diner on the corner full of skeptics choking down on news. Tell me cold irrelevant when you got nothing left to lose. Seems like we're all hippies on acid, yeah. Hippies on acid, yeah. Hippies on acid, yeah. Hippies on acid. No, we can't go ease the pain. Now we know the reason why. Something leaking down out of Larry now over the sky. Stone breeze beats shaking ground, the right will roll by. Money gold is all the money, and my money only pays me down. Seems like we're all hippies on acid, yeah. Hippies on acid, yeah. Hippies on acid, yeah. Hippies on acid. Hippies on acid, yeah. Hippies on acid, yeah. Hippies on acid, yeah. Hippies on acid.
It might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am.
Kid likes rules, but I get why we have them.
Your neighbors are probably already doing it, but who? Alcohol and other drugs.
Seems like we're all hippies on acid, yeah. 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 Hippies on acid. Hippies on acid. Hippies on acid, yeah. Hippies on acid,
Oh, and welcome to the show. My name is Jade, and this is The Interview, and I hope you're all doing well. It's early here in Australia, 8 a.m. as the usual time, and we have a wonderful guest on, and that was Seven Horse, a pick from our guest today, Rachel's Ghost. She's selecting a whole bunch of songs from people within her community over at the Vinyl Community and on her television show. So that's really cool. We're going to get to hear some new music here, which we love. You know, we love that. You're all doing well. Welcome everybody in the chat. I see there's 50 of you here. Thanks for joining us. Now we normally do hellos at about the 30-minute mark and we'll call your name out and do all that jazz. So sit tight. We'll be putting comments up and all that kind of stuff, but we'll get to you and do the hellos, but we want to do the interview, don't we? All right, we're going to bring on our guest in just a moment. I need to let you know, yes, definitely, as usual, we have a sponsor and it is our wonderful friends at DistroKid. DistroKid are the premier distribution service to get your music online. You can get your music put out on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, all of the major places, even places you've never even heard of. And you can do so by spending a measly $22.99 billed annually to get unlimited songs placed online, unlimited uploads. You get one artist, you get unlimited lyrics, a Spotify check mark, create royalty splits so you can share money with other artists who work on songs with you. You get a whole bunch of tools to, you know, promote your music and do all that kind of stuff. And there's even a mobile app that you can upload your music from as well. I've been using DistroKid since way before they started sponsoring this show. And I've had and as you can see here, we bounce over. Look how much music I've released through DistroKid. There is mountains of music I have released through DistroKid. And you can see here even splits. This is the money I split with other artists that I've released. We love DistroKid, and if you sign up to DistroKid using my code that is in the description and up the top there, you can see it, distrokid.com/VIP/Jade Starr, you will get 7% off your first year. Thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring the show. You know what I'm going to say. You know it. I say it every time. DistroKid. Oh, DistroKid. I love you, DistroKid. Anyway, we'll hear from DistroKid a little bit further on in the show. It's time to bring up my guest. So, I found this strange channel. I'm going to call it strange because it's unique, and I love it because of its uniqueness. Because one of my friends, Cherry, was interviewed on this show, and I knew Cherry. I've known Cherry for many, many years. She's a dear friend of mine, another trans person, and we used to go out to nightclubs and take loads of ecstasy, and she'd wear roller skates in a nightclub. She's a complete and utter, total weirdo. And but I love Cherry so much, and I saw that Rachel was interviewing her, and I fell into this channel, Rachel's Ghost, and her TV show, and I've been stuck there for 2 years and I just can't get out of there. It's like a vortex that has sucked me in, and I love it. It's entertaining, funny, it's informative, controversial, and there's a whole bunch of talk about music, and you guys know I love music, and Susie says that's how we all feel. Yes, indeed. All right, so we're going to bring her on without further ado. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our guest today. And again, make sure I've got everything right here. Let's bring her on, Rachel's Ghost. Hello, Rachel. How you going?
Hello, Jade. Welcome. I'm so happy to be here. Holy smokes.
It's all happening. You're on my show now.
I'm on your show. I go welcome and I'm like on your show. But now this is a little different because
Yeah.
you and I are working. You've got me in the Zoom format. So I'm not able to see the chat. So hello, chat. I won't be able to see your comments. I don't care about your comments. Hit me out over back on my show after. I said, why didn't you talk to me, Rachel? You don't love me no more. But no, I loved you, the kids, especially our beloved liberal heroes. You know,
They're here. You know
Oh,
what?
my
I
God.
love that about this because I do like to focus on doing an interview, right? I do like, and I put comments up, and it does help, like just focus on what's going on. That's why and Zoom doesn't provide the comments as well, such like that.
I'm thrilled to be here. I'm so knocked out. You opened the show with Seven Horse, but now do you want me to just talk about
Yes,
Seven
please.
Horse, or how do you want me
Absolutely.
to do?
Tell us.
Okay, it's so Seven Horse, a three-piece power trio. This is their latest album here, The Last Resort. You can see my copy is autographed, Phil Levitt and Joey Callio. And Joey, so too much to my surprise, I think Joey came to me through Norman Maslow, another great channel. Matt's got a lot of subscribers, with relatively speaking, within the context of the vinyl community. These guys, their music was featured in the movie Wolf of Wall Street. Joey is just the nicest guy. We text each other back and forth, and He's incredibly talented, multi-instrumentalist. And Martin Scorsese did the film 2011, The Wolf of Wall Street. Their song, Meth Lab Zozo Sticker, was chosen as one of the songs. Scorsese heard the song. He liked it. He wanted to feature in the film. They made them an offer they couldn't refuse. And the next thing you know, their songs feature in that show. So really great guy, down to earth. We went down to see a whole bunch of people, what we call the vinyl community, Jade. These are record collector people. So you can see a whole bunch of records back there. I'll show you a few more as the interview goes on. But that's really my raison d'etre for being here on the internet. It's this love of music and rock and roll. And in the midst of this, a world happen and different things go on. So my show, I talk about this, that, and the other thing, because I'm always interested in everything. Kind of got a Joe Rogan approach to things. I'm interested in, kind of the whole UFOs, and now the military's talking about UFOs. What's that? We got different hats for my show too. So if I go on to UFOs, then we switch gear, and we'll put this on. Because I'm going to say, listen, there's something happening in Antarctica. So anyway, so we go all over the place. I just want to talk about what's important to me or what I care about. Religion, I'm big on religion. I self-identify as a Christian. So I'll talk about religion from time to time, just different topics. But, eventually, inevitably, it always returns to music. And I play, a little guitar, and I've got another one over just a hint of it is visible, kind of over there. But I can go. I'd have to, swing the screen.
There we go.
There
Let's
you
zoom in.
go. It showed up over there.
Yeah, there you
Hang
go.
on, there's a delay. There it is over there. That's my Gibson. It's an actual Les Paul, which is a dream to own an actual Les Paul. So that's kind of a treasure. And I got my little soundboard back down there and my amp. I got a deluxe reverb. And then I've got my little Vox over there. So anyway, it's off the rail. That's right, easy. Now I can see your comments when Jade brings them up. That's not the only way
I'm bringing select ones up. All right. So
All right.
we'll get to all that. We got plenty of time. Yeah. So the first question I ask everybody, because I don't just interview musicians, I interview creators, comedians, artists. We've had painters on here. We've done auctions of people's art on this show. We try and cover all spectrums of creativity. But it is music focused. And so the first question I ask everybody on here, and it's a very deep one, Rachel, what does music mean to you?
Well, I mean, for myself, it's it's kind of like an independent thing. So it's identity. It's tied into an identity. Now, listen, folks. Full disclosure: I'm a trans woman of color, so that could shock and dismay you. But no. So identity is important. So one of the things that growing up, and one of the transitions I made from childhood into adulthood was music. Music was a big part of it, along with the alcohol, along with the cigarettes, along with whatever sex I was trying to put together for myself.
Oh, goodness.
Although, I mean, isn't that the whole thing?
Yes.
Maturity and oh, Jesus, my left testicle's just descended. I'm ready to reproduce. It's an exciting day. So, it's a coming of age stuff. So music was a big part of all that coming of age, but certainly, music is there all the time, right? I remember as a little kid, my mom coming in my room with my kid brother, all excited, going, "Oh, guess what? I've learned a song." My kid brother goes, "What do you mean you learned a song?" Right now, I'm 2 years older than him. He goes, "Yeah," and then my mom said, "Scotty, sing the little song," And so he starts singing this. Oh man, he plays too. He plays knick-knack on my show. I'm going, what? How does he know this without me? My producer has just left me a note. It's like Tootsie, they go close up. I go, not that close. Actual note. What the hell? Thank you.
I was just about to send you a message. Back off, bitch.
Oh. All right. Okay. So anyway, so it was a big part of it. My favorite band is the Beatles. I love the Beatles. In fact, in behind me here. This is all apart from the beautiful lad from Holland over there, the Henche. The rest of that all across the way, and apart from the wine. But as Beatle records, it's all Beatle related. They're my jive. They're my ultimate. I love the Beatles so very much. Hold on, I'll get back for a second.
So, Rachel, who is your favorite band and why is it the Beatles?
Oh, wow. Yeah, exactly. Who is my favorite band? Why is it the Beatles? This is the holy smokes. This is the holy grail for us Beatle people. 2014 Beatles in mono LPs. Um, it's the Beatles because I think it's a hard question to say, but their talent, it just resonates so strongly with me. I think the fact that they're English, I'm a real Anglophile. Being Canadian, I'm stuck halfway between America and Britain. Canadians were kind of half English and half American in some ways. Um, but the Beatles, yeah, just the music resonated with me. It was independent, coming of age. There was a particular album, 1973. The Beatles come out with the Red Album. They call it the Red Album, 62, 66. Amazing, changed my life. So, it was full on Beatlemania, and I was looking for my own identity, break away from mom and dad, like kids do, right? I mean, this is a
Yeah,
teenage thing to do, right?
totally.
Part of growing up. It's part of that process.
If you
Yeah,
had to choose,
Beatles are
if you had to choose one Beatles song, could you do it?
yeah, I can. Strawberry Fields Forever.
Wow.
That's my favorite. John Lennon. John's my favorite out of the
Mhm.
four. I like John Lennon. John Lennon, I describe John Lennon as the Beatles are, without John Lennon, the Beatles are like a big little, you go to the fairground, you get cotton candy, you get a little cardboard thing, and then they whip around. You got a big fluffy pop of candy. That's Paul McCartney. And you're going, yeah, love me, and you're going, oh, that's just so sweet and cute. But then when you get Lennon in there, it adds a steel bar and replaces that with the little, cardboard cone that it's holding, the wrapper. And if you bite too hard in that, you'll bust your teeth because Lennon's got the grit, Lennon's got the dirt. That's the guy. He's my guy. And so there's a thing about John Lennon. He wrote a song, "Give Me Some Truth, Just Give Me Some Truth. All I Want Is the Truth." That kind of yearning that guy had resonated strongly with me. I just got into that whole vibe about him, and he was a leader to me. I discerned him as a leader early on. I go, if there's a lead Beatle, it's got to be John Lennon. And he got lazy, like myself. He's kind of fundamentally lazy. And Paul was the worker. Paul was the guy that got him into the studio.
Yeah.
Said, "Come on, get off your asses. Let's go to work, get things done." So Paul's the guy for that. But John was the guy they all looked to. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? That traditionally that was it. Till he ended up finding Yoko, and that was a whole different experience for him. But
Well, he's
you know,
clearly
as
a
well-
leader. He was a leader so much so that people took a lot of what he said to heart. And it
yeah.
probably was the depth at the end of his life, unfortunately.
Well, isn't that interesting? He's the one they decide to pop off.
Yep.
In the case of this guy, I never liked saying the guy. I know the guy's name. I know where I was. I know what happened December 8th, 1980. But the whole thing is about that. It is interesting. I find that John's the guy they went after, right? Why that one? I think because whatever he was saying was agitating or doing something resonating somehow, and maybe not in the right way, but because it got him killed.
Yeah.
But I just love him, and I still continue. I have more solo albums from John. My solo album collection. I just went over it today on my show, actually, just talking reference. I didn't pull the records out here. I just said most John, then Paul, then George, then Ringo, and that order. It's John, Paul, George, and Ringo for me. In
Now,
order.
did you get a chance
reference.
to see them perform or not?
No, not in the day. And I don't think I would have had a chance in 1964. They did play Vancouver. I was in Victoria, but I was too young, right? I mean, you got to think about 1964, 65. I'm 6 and 7 years old then. And so because of that, really too young to be really of interest in that. In fact, I have a memory in 1968 where I'm over at a friend's place and he's got these 45s on the floor, as we all did back in those days, little record player. And he's got Snoopy and the Red Baron by the Royal Guardsmen. And I want to hear that. He'd go, I got Hey Jude and Revolution, from the Beatles. I go, yeah, yeah. No, 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 play the Snoopy because I'm 10. I'm a kid. I want to hear kid music, right? And that was a lot of fun, that Snoopy thing. I was a huge Charlie Brown fan as a kid. I bought all the books and read them all. But yeah, that's kind of my take on that, is that music following through, playing the records, the 45s. The Beatles were it for me. And as I got matured, getting older, then I put the GI Joe away, the comic books away, and started collecting Beatle records, essentially Canadian ones. The label's different. This is all the kind of minutia that we cover in the vinyl community, like the what label is it on, who pressed it, where was it pressed, all these sort of details that would probably bore the average individual.
No,
and sometimes even bore us.
I find it utterly interesting, and I know there's a lot of people on this channel who, especially with a lot of independent artists who've come on this channel who were into music, wanted to be musicians from a young age. Life gets in the way. They get married, they have kids, and now here they are in their late 40s to 50s, 60s even, and they're making music from their home studios. So they're reliving that. And a lot of these people, we all had vinyl, and it's so interesting to see it making a resurgence these days. I love it. I think it's fantastic that it's making a resurgence because digital music is shite.
Well, the thing for me, it's a huge nostalgic thing. So I'm of that generation, born in 1958. So I'm collecting records in the 60s, 70s, but they're little 45s, right? The 70s. I couldn't afford a full album then.
Yep.
And so a lot of my favorite songs and records that I had took the form of 7-inch singles. And it was only later that the albums start coming in when I'm 13, 14, 15. Then the albums, now I can access full album. My mom and dad were members of the Columbia Record House Collector Club sort of thing. So they'd get a lot of crap records that I could not handle. But every now and then Columbia would screw up the order and send them something that I actually didn't mind. So Blood, Sweat and Tears second album came out. The one with David Clayton Thomas on it, Spinning Wheels, Got to Go Round. I played that a lot. Johnny Cash, I was the only one that liked Johnny Cash in the family. Nobody else liked Johnny. I like Johnny Cash. So we had Johnny Cash from his TV show. And so I had that album. And there was a couple others that they had that would resonate. I like Boots Randolph, of all things, Yakety Sax. Boots Randolph, Brazil 66. Sergio Mendes just passed away a couple of weeks ago, I think. Sergio Mendes, Brazil 66. Or mom and dad had one of those albums brought in. I'd listen to it, right? Of course, they had their own music.
Who were some of the artists that your parents used to play as a kid, and were there any that you really hated?
Probably at the time I probably hated all of them.
Right.
Just because it couldn't resonate, wouldn't do anything. I took the liberty of bringing a couple out here to show the kids, because I love my mom and dad. They're both gone now, right?
Yeah.
I'm adopted kid, by the way, another story. I'm adopted, so that's another identity thing that comes into play. We'll talk about that in a bit, but I've got this. I got this in two formats. This is a quad version of it. I also got the one that my dad owned. I got rid of all my records when the CDs came up. I held on to records for a while. Then by about 1992 or so, all my LPs were gone, replaced with compact disc. Then when Napster came in, I got rid of a lot of my CDs. I kept my Beatles CDs. That was about it. The 1812 Overture, Tchaikovsky. This is fantastic. My dad would play this. It's got actual cannons that go off on this thing. My dad liked his whiskey. My mom liked her sherry. Dad would play that thing and then crank it so that the cannons would be booming all the hell over, and bothering my mother because she go, David, in my dad's name, right? Turn that damn thing down. What the hell are you doing? And I'd start laughing. And then mom, for her part, her go-to was this guy here. My mom's my adoptive mom's Welsh. This is one she actually owned. And as a kid, I always loved the cute little, I'll pull it out of the plastic here, this parrot label I always thought it was so cute with the way the little parrot was there. Isn't
Oh,
that cute? Little kids love it. It's like a little Disney. Anyway, so that was a couple. But in amongst there, I didn't mind this one. This is one mom and dad had. This one's kind of funny because it's a special Chevrolet record on the move. Chevrolet in the
wow.
70s, our new Monte Carlo. This is a promotional record for the car dealership.
What?
But it features it's on the move, but it features the music of Dionne Warwick, Glenn Campbell, Burt Bacharach. Isn't that great?
Wow.
I mean, talk about
You don't
and
see
here's
shit
the
like
label.
that anymore, dude. That's you know. Here, let me zoom
Yeah,
in.
I mean it's pure marketing, right?
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, got it up for you there. So Dionne Warwick, Glenn Campbell. And you know, it's got the way to San Jose on it. Sitting on the dock of the bay was great. I mean, these are great songs. And Glenn Campbell is a hell of a performer. Dionne Warwick, it's a good record. So happy to have that one. But you know, I'm so nostalgic. I say critically so. That's it drives a lot of my record collecting. So a lot of the records I do buy in one way or another are copies of records I had as a kid. Now, no showing of records would be complete. I'm just going to show one for you personally, Jade, because I know this is going to mean a lot for all our Australian viewers.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, this is very special.
It's not Rolf Harris, is it? I knew it was going to be fucking Rolf Harris.
He's a national treasure.
He's not a national.
He's a national treasure. It's Tommy Kangaroo. He was loved by children the world over.
Yeah, he
Boy,
loved
and
children
you know what?
too.
More importantly, he loved the children.
Oh,
He
God.
loved the children. And this was on the Capitol. It's on your Capitol rainbow. This is just, I'm so fantastic. And I want you to know, here's a little record tip, kids. When you're buying your records, if you get one of these Ancon, if you get one of these like this, see that it's a T number. It doesn't say ST. If it said ST, that would be stereo. This is mono. You want your Rolf. Am I looking at me, sweet? Just gosh, just the children, a national treasure of Australia vinyl community. And I know, Jade, you're probably knocked out going, geez, Rachel, how thoughtful to bring out a national treasure, one of my childhood heroes.
I love Two Little Boys. That's one of my favorite tracks.
Is that one of your favorites?
Yeah. Well, it's one of his favorites, definitely.
Tommy Kangaroo dance.
Look at him. He looks so innocent, doesn't he? Like the.
He's just saying he could never do any harm. That's why I love him.
Hey, did you see his painting he did of the Queen?
He's a very good painter. He's multifaceted. Just
Yes.
perfect. It's so sad. Gosh, here's the lamentation. If the poor guy's gone, he would have been a great guest, a multi-talented force on your program. A little bit of controversy. Okay, maybe for some, but a great singer with the children's song. Six white Plymouth, snow white Plymouth. I love that. Everybody loves that. All right.
I think he's out of jail now. Anyway, he's in WA. He's hiding out.
Dead. He's passed on.
Has he? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's it. I didn't get.
Yeah, Rolf is gone.
Oh well. Rest in peace,
Yeah.
Rolf.
Yeah, he's all
Now, did Rolf influence you, Rachel?
I, in some ways, he was happy. He was part of my childhood, right? Yeah, we didn't know anything. All these stories only came out years later.
Absolutely.
He was highly regarded. He played the Cave in Vancouver, which is a highly regarded a kind of nightclub in Vancouver, and he was highly regarded there. And he did some recordings. He did an album recorded from the Cave, maybe even a couple. That was one of his favorite venues. He liked to come to Vancouver. Vancouver is a big party town.
And here in Australia, he had a television show where he taught painting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he'd be
Yeah,
up there,
multi-talented guy.
and he'd be painting away, doing
Oh,
that, and
yeah.
he'd have his wobble
Yeah,
board
'cause
out.
like it's a didgeridoo. It's a bit of a didgeridoo, isn't it? He's trying to do the didgeridoo with the,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the Outback kind of thing. Eek, 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 eek.
Did you ever hear his cover of Stairway to Heaven?
No, it about might be time.
Oh, it's fucking terrible.
All right, I'm going to play it tomorrow's show.
Yeah,
We're going to throw
do
that
it.
one on.
It does wobble board all the way through it.
Oh, I
There's a
love it.
lady who sure wobble, wobble, wobble. It's,
Yeah, I love it. Didgeridoos.
yeah. Thank you, Susie, for the kind super chat. That's very kind of you. Remember, you can super chat if you do like. It's not a requirement or anything like that.
There's a tip in the
Yeah,
mail.
she just feels she should get danger pay for doing this.
You're right.
one, Jade.
And I got your donation on PayPal as well. Thank you so much.
All righty.
All right, we're at the 30-minute mark where we normally play our second song. So we're going to choose a song at random here. I'm going to choose Leon Goulart. Is that how you say? Do you want to tell us a bit about this artist that you've selected for this? Go for it.
So Leon's a young guy. He's in his 20s. I think he's like 23 years old, if that. He is in Spain, or is from Spain, of Spain, Spanish kid. Works out of Los Angeles. From my understanding, he's working out of Los Angeles. He created this absolute beautiful album called Comfort. It was done during the lockdown, during the worst of the COVID. And it's got the most unusual record features that you could ever imagine. So you open it up like an old binder that we might have had in grade school. And this is embossed on the covers. So you can actually feel as you run your finger over the word comfort. There's lots of little treats in here. There's a waxed envelope, sealed, just tremendous care and attention to detail with this. Absolutely lovely. So Leon Guller, independent artist. I wanted to promote him. I interviewed him on my program. Great guy. And so I thought, hey, let's expose more of the world to Leon's music. And hopefully through your auspices and influence, maybe even get Leon on your shows at some point. Super nice guy.
Absolutely. We're always looking for artists. All right, this is called Fire. Let's play it. We'll be back here shortly. You're ready, my friends. Let's do it right now. Boom. That was beautiful.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's a multi-instrumentalist as well, keyboardist, very heartfelt song. And his whole mission was to create comfort for people through his music during the time of the lockdown. And obviously, so many people were affected. Obviously, a gifted performer, beautifully produced album, a lot of care and, as I say, attention to detail. So that's when you might want to pick up. Leon Guller is the artist. And I'm not sure how Jade does things, but if you come on my show, I'll put a link out for you. Jade may have the link for it herself.
Links are in the description to all the artists today and all of Rachel's
perfect.
details. Everything's in the description, my friends. Thank you, Ivan, for the kind super chat as well. And P-Town Music Room, thank you so much. And Mr. Smith for a gifted membership. Somebody got a Kitchen Zombie got a membership. So well done, Kitchen Zombie. You got a free membership. Happy days. And if you didn't know, if you are a member, there is a Rachel's Ghost emoji in the chat today. Every guest who comes on has their own emoji. Let's throw some in the chat for our members. I'll throw some in there to kick it off. There we go. Get Rachel's head floating around the screen.
I'm floating.
You've got your own emoji now. So, members, chuck them around. You know the deal. All right. So, Rachel, do you remember the first album you bought with little Rachel's pocket money and the first album that was given to you as a gift?
The first one ever as a gift. God, that's tough.
Yes.
That is really tough. You know what? I'm going to say, here's how it worked out. My buddy was such a great friend. 1973, the Beatles Red album. He had it. He had the red and the blue. He said, look, I'll lend you because he knew I didn't have any money. So he said, I'll lend it to you. I'm 15 years old. He lends me the Beatles thing. And I played the hell out of that. 5 years later, I finally returned it to him. So I owe him a lot. He was so very patient. So that was kind of the first one. The other one was Physical Graffiti, 1975. A girl named Pam. She had that in my place. I say, hey, you left your Physical Graffiti here. Not so much a gift, but it's like she didn't care about it. You can keep that. You can have it. So I said, oh, okay.
Thank you.
So Physical Graffiti is early in. And now the memory's going back now as I cast my mind back there around 1976, 75. Yeah, same year. A guy named Victor Renegaius from Croatia. He was over visiting Canada. And when he went back, he hung around with us for the summer. We had a great time, super nice guy. And when he left, he gave me Zeppelin, House of the Holy. So House of Holy and Abraxas were two albums that he gifted me. So Abraxas, House of Holy were two early ones. First album I ever bought on my own, I don't remember. Early, I'm going to have to say it would be maybe Badfinger's Magic Christian Music. That's one I always mention when this question comes up. Being in the vinyl community, a lot of questions like this do come up. And I'm going to say Magical Mystery, or not Magical Mystery, Magic Christian Music from the movie Ringo Starr, Peter Sellers, but the band Badfinger put it out. Love Badfinger. Eventually met Joey Mullen years later, about a decade later, had the great pleasure of talking to Joey Mullen in a hotel room. It was fantastic. It was a beautiful thing. And then the first adult 45, because as a kid I had a Johnny Quest 45 called 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It was basically like the Jules Verne story, but it's got like the actors from the Johnny Quest cartoon doing the voiceovers for the 20,000 League Story. Horrible record, 45, 7-inch. But I own that damn thing. It came with a neat little cover, slip cover, still available on eBay and like long out of print, of course. But the first adult record, 1971, I got a 45. My parents gave money to my brother, myself. He picked Uncle Albert and Admiral Halsey, Paul McCartney, the single off of the Ram album, 1971. I went for I Started a Joke, Sentimental Rachie. I went for I Started a Joke by the Bee Gees, the wonderful Robin Gibb singing the vocals on that. Absolutely fantastic. Beautiful song, bring a tear to my eye. I Started a Joke, started the whole world crying.
Yeah.
But they couldn't see that the joke was on me. And of course, it's a beautiful Manchester family that emigrated to Aussie.
Yes, and Faith No More covered that song as well too. They covered that. I'm actually singing that on the weekend. It's part of my repertoire this weekend. I love that song.
Now you're going to sing I Started a Joke this weekend.
Yes, I'm doing the Faith No More version. And
I drove
I
in
looked at the sky, holding my head.
That is so emotional for me. Holy smoke. I look forward to it.
Now the Bee Gees, they were massive through a period of time. I mean, they worked with Olivia Newton-John. They were a part of so many movie soundtracks. They really were, huge artists.
Yeah. Yeah. Their year is, God, I want to say what, 1975? 75 was Saturday Night Fever. When did Saturday Night
Yep.
Fever go? They exploded. They were the biggest thing on the planet. And then they did that ill-fated Sergeant Pepper, which I've never seen to this very day, in absolute protest towards the whole thing. Couldn't stand it. I didn't like the idea behind it. I said the Beatles are cool. You guys are, a bunch of saps in your little flambe, right? My first adult movie. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. That's a personal question, Yvonne from Norway.
Thank you, David Donnelly,
Yeah.
for the super chat as well. Now we need to say hello to people. It is I normally do it around this time, so if you'd like to get a shout out, type something in the chat, anything, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I just want to address David Donnelly. David, hang around. I do have some music from you featured later in the show.
Yes.
Or at least if you have to go to bed or whatever's happening in England right now, later, just come back and, flip through the show till you see it. But I wanted to honor David as well. He's an incredible musician. We'll get to him a little later.
He is closing the show today, so he's closing the show. Hello, Breakfast King of Loyola, Valerie Bart.
Yeah.
Hello, Dragon Studios, Chauncey. Hello, Loki. What's going on, Loki? We've
Loki,
got.
you bastard! I'm sorry, I just popped out like.
I'm not saying anything. Ali, hello. Hugh Caldwell's in the house. We've got Scoozy's Ghost, which is your better half. Are we allowed to say
Way
that?
better app. Way better.
Pumping Vinyl. Chuck T, hello. James Farley. I'm scrolling up. Mr. Smith's in the house. Bloody Ritual. Jenny Jolivet. I know Brad Example was right up the top as well. I'm going to run out of room up here looking back through the comments. So Tremor Bear, hello to you. Pete Johns actually said it was cool to have somebody on for a change who actually had their first albums. 'Cause I don't think I've ever had anyone who's had that before. Bronco Billy's in the house. Who else have we got? I'm just making sure. If I've missed you, Ivan, of course, thank you. Thank you, Ivan. And if I've missed you, I'll try and catch up and come back. We'll do a second round of hellos later on. So thanks for being here today. Right. So let's go down this path. So we both happen to be trans, or
What?
or as
Controversy.
we're allowed to say, trannies. Right. So
Yeah. Fun-filled trannies is the way I go. Jay.
that's it.
Fun-filled.
You know, it's funny, Rachel, because when I first came out and, tranny was like, we were allowed to say it, weren't we? It was all cool because we're trans and we're allowed to say whatever the fuck we want. And now these days I hear it and it's a slur these days. And I'm sure I've been in situations where I've been attacked and had it yelled at me, but it never stuck in my head as a slur, even though it was used against me. When did you first realize you might be of the persuasion of being trans?
About 5 years old. 5 years old, I would have. I'd go to dream. Here's my theory for me personally. First of all, I don't have any overarching theory as to what causes the condition, what the catalysts are, what the ingredients. I think it's deeply personal. I think it's highly varied. I think everybody's got their own story. So I have my own ideas about why I particularly had problems in this area. First of all, I'm telling you right off the bat, it's certainly not optimal, but you got to do what you got to do. Let me put it that way. It's not optimal. The optimal is to reproduce, right? You want to have everything working. There's things we have to do in order to maintain. I take estrogen supplements artificially. I have to, right? To maintain the system, make sure it's all functioning.
Yep.
And other personal duties that you're aware of. And I am post-operative, so I have breast surgery. I had vaginoplasty, they call it. So I had the whole thing. But when I was 5 years old, the question is when to start. 5 years old, I just don't think my identity was solid. My father was a very masculine figure, very alpha kind of male, very strong, very stern figure. And I think he just set a standard of masculinity that I was never equal to. I just felt I couldn't attain it in my little kitty-like psychology. My dad had a reoccurring dream around the time when I was little. My mom told me this years ago, at some point after my dad had passed in 98. And he had a dream where there was a train and I'm a little baby on the tracks and the train runs and kills me, right? And he'd wake up in a cold sweat having a nightmare. That, I believe, was my dad's psychology. My dad is the engine. My dad's the train. It's his psyche having that impact on his son. So I think part of it, the dynamic part of the catalyst there, it's not the entire reason, but I think for me personally, and again, that's a caveat, my personal story. So what I would do, Jade, I go to bed and I had kind of lucid dreaming to some extent, not complete control over the dream state. Like I said, what will I be before when I go to bed? Will I be a boy or girl? Whatever I determined I would be, that's what I would be in my dreaming state. So that tells me that the gender identity wasn't fully formed, right?
Yep, it's
It's something that was malleable that I could play with.
sure.
And then as I matured, there was the grip on my own masculinity. Now I'm seeing myself locked up a little bit here. Are we locked up? Are we doing okay?
No, we're good here.
All right, I'm just going to keep going. So it was when I got older, in my 20s, I would seek out because there's a whole tranny literature. So you get
Yeah.
books dealing with transformation. I'm loving curiously. I think that was one I read. I think I'm loving curiously, and there's all sorts of fictional books dealing with this. When I was at university, now I'm in my 20s. I'm up at university and I'm reading the endocrinology section. I'm going there. I'm reading history. I'm reading literature, myth, legend, all these sort of things. Um, God, I've forgotten more than that I could ever even remember. But the legend of the snakes, the two snakes that copulate, and the individual, the old Greek philosopher, he gets transformed into a female, this sort of thing. So there was all that. There was an old cartoon with Casper, the ghost, and he's at a Halloween. It's called "There's Good Booze Tonight." It sounds crazy. Boo, Boos. Casper goes to a little party with this girl. He bobs the apples and he's having fun because Casper's rejected by all the kids. I loved the thing as a kid. And the paint's washed him. He paints himself with paint. He goes into the bobbing apples. The paint comes off and everybody goes, "Oh, it's a ghost." A little girl's there, but she's not afraid of him. He goes, "How come you're not afraid of me?" And then she floats out of her body. And she revealed that she's a little girl, Casper. And so something in my little tranny brain went, kind of short circuited when I saw that. And I think it resonated on a level that she wasn't restricted by her body or who she was, and that she's like a Casper, but a female Casper. So there was that gender element to it as well because she was female, right? So all these sort of things. And then when in my 40s, like many, I think the whole idea our testosterone levels naturally drop. I think pressure in life at that time, I was going through a lot of personal things, drinking probably more than I should have. Well, definitely drinking more than I should have, and self-destructively, and something had to be done, and so it took on a life of its own. I went in, it came out to everybody. That was the hardest thing, right? Coming out to everybody. And now in hindsight, having gone through all that, it took care of a problem for me psychologically, personally, but it's an extreme personal psychological issue. I don't say I'm not an activist in this sense. You don't see pride flags floating around in here or, "Hey, you got to go accept me." My philosophy was, if I want to be the girl, it's up to me to fit into our society's concept of what that gender role would be. And then they won't flag me. Then they won't shake me down. Who can blame them if I'm, walking around going, "I got spurs, I jingle," and they're going, "You're not very ladylike." And then that would be just how heartfelt. They'd all be shocked. And so it's up to me, to get the little bra and the push up and go, oh, I'm Jessica. Oh my God, you're so cute. You're a boy. So it was up to me to do all that. So early on, yeah, I did it. And now, I'm 66. Can you believe it? And now I don't give a flying F anymore about any of it. I got my personal demons put to rest. I'm all happy. I got the best girl in the world. There's a lovely wife of mine. And I do call myself a trans woman. And for an added humorous twist on it, I throw in of color. I'm a quarter Native American Indian. But the real issue is I'm a trans woman. I'm not a biological female, and there are distinct differences between the two. So that's my take on it.
Excellent. Now, it's interesting. And some of the things I want to touch on that you said there, like when you first come out, it is hard. Like and I took time to come out because I was scared of all the people I'd lose in my life. As it turns out, the majority of people I lost in my life were fuckwits anyway. So it was actually a really good thing because all these assholes just disappeared, and I was left with a collection of cool people. But again, with activism and stuff like that, because I was a musician, I got pulled into this world of performing at LGBT events and being a spokesperson. And these days, I just can't be asked because I just want to sit around in my tracksuit pants and do and not stand there and wave a flag.
It's fantastic. Yeah, but I love those early transitional pictures of yourself. You're just lovely, and so you did that. I was never as good looking as you, so there's limitations with what I had to work with, right? But I was able to go out to a restaurant, and sit down and it still happens from time to time when they go, "What would you ladies like?" And it's more of a surprise these days. I make absolutely no effort, but I think our culture's a little wiser about things. They go, "Oh, this is a trans person. It'll this person will like being used the feminine." And I just don't care. And sometimes I get, "Hey, fella, what would you like?" I get both, and it just doesn't bother me. You can't face me. The trolls on my channel, this was really interesting because they thought they could get me. You're a tranny. I want, Then I almost swore, but I'd say, I respond right away. I will, f you so hard. I will pleasure you, you tranny chaser. You're at home pleasuring yourself over Rachel because I'm all adorable. Yeah, that's what's happening. It's horrible, tranny chasers. But anyway, I just it doesn't bother me. I just don't care, right? And because there's other things I care about.
There are other things to worry about, so I've read some of the emails I get here on this channel, and some people are just psychotic. Like they fully just. I've had emails, Rachel, from YouTube, and they just like, "I hope you die." That's all it says, and I'm sure Loki can identify with the comments. Thank you, G May, for the kind super chat. And Loki, thank you. Loki says, Rachel, how many directions can you bend your elbow in? We're trying to help John in the gallery. Sorry to interrupt, but it's kind of urgent.
Not me. Okay, I'm gonna just give you. Well, I can do this, and but I don't have a whole lot of, I'm very elderly, John. Thank you, Loki. Great question.
Great question.
Insanity.
So in relation to being trans, so like for me, I put up this huge barrier. I was into heavy metal and I got tattoos and piercings, and that was my barrier to stop people from getting in, to know what was actually going on. So when I came out, all my metalhead friends were like, this isn't really a surprise. We've seen you try and hack your own arm off on stage with a knife. So this isn't really shocking. But all my other friends were like, "Oh my God, this is terrible." Did you have like a protective coat of arms that you put on yourself? Was it drinking? What was it that you wrapped yourself in to hide that, if any?
No, I didn't. I don't believe I did. I still do on some level because, I'm not totally unaware of my environment, right? Do you want psychotic? Watching Rachel's show every day. Listen, Norman Massey, son of a gun. I love Massey. Massey's the best, right? I have everything but nothing but praise for that guy. He's one of the best. But no, there's not a lot. I jumped. It was like on a high board, like over a pool. I dove off the high board and said, "What the hell? Let's see where this lands." Fortunately, because I am who I am and my personality is what it is, I think that did me good service. I never lost anybody. I think the only one we lost, Sue, would be Dick and Ellen. It was
Pauline.
Dick and Pauline, a very elderly couple from a whole different generation.
Right.
They they had a very difficult time. Pauline more than Dick, I think. Dick didn't really give a shit. And when Sue's dad found out, he just said, "Well, if he wants to be an idiot and do that, you know,
Use the word moron.
or moron, yeah, he might have used Rob's word moron. He said, if he wants to be a moron and do that, that's his business. I don't care. Yeah."
It's
And
it
that
is
was
funny
it.
how
So-
people get bent out of shape over it. It's like I don't think I've ever met somebody and they've gone, you know what, I'm gonna get breast implants, and I go, I don't understand.
Well, that's part of yeah, but that's also part of my psychology as well. You don't want to go half measure. If you want to be female, well, you don't want to be carrying around the tack and berries. What girl has that? So what do girls got? What can you do, science? And so, ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing the very best that science will ever be able to do. Right? So I'm adorable. Just that girl. So sweet and innocent.
Hello, Mazzy, as well.
I wanted My Little Pony. Holy smokes! So what? I mean, what are you going to do, right?
Exactly.
You got to live. You're down. You got one crack at it. Now that's all taken care of, and now all that. Now I'm just me. And a lot of people that encounter me do say, I don't even think of you male, female, or anything. I just think of you as Rachel. Or you're just Rachel to me. I just go, well, that's fine, man. That works. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm not sleeping with you.
First names work.
I'm married already. Yeah.
First
Go
names
ahead.
work. Hey, if you don't know what they are, just call them just pay attention to their fucking name.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. We're gonna do our halfway ad, and then we're gonna come back and play a song.
All right.
So we have to go to our sponsor. So I want to thank everybody for being here. People I've missed out, DJ Johnny, and hello Mazzy as well. And if I've missed you, welcome aboard and for hanging out today. So we've got our ad now. I used to read the sponsored ad, Rachel, but I've got a bit of a loose tongue. And I don't know what I'm going to say all the time, so I've adopted now to do a pre-recorded ad just to be
Okay. This is all very professional.
got to hold on to our sponsor. So let's hear from our sponsor, DistroKid. We'll be back shortly. Let's Oja. This presentation is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Introducing DistroKid, your ultimate music distribution solution. For just $29.99 a year, DistroKid empowers you to release unlimited tracks on all major music platforms worldwide, including Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, and so many more. Plus, use my link distrokid.com/VIP/JadeStarr and get 7% off your first year. You'll also keep 100% of your royalties and gain access to valuable tools like instant verification on Spotify and detailed revenue analytics. Don't let your music go unheard. Join DistroKid today and take your music career to the next level. Thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring today's presentation. Indeed. Thank you so much, DistroKid. And always, as I say, I love you, DistroKid. Thank you so much. Let's come back to our dear friend Rachel now. I've got another song I'm going to play here. I'm going to pick one at random because we're finishing with David today. It is our halfway point, so we're going to play a character by the name of Melo D. Do you want to tell us about this guy? Because he's recently joined this community. He's been coming to a whole bunch of music shows in this community as well. Tell us all about Melo.
So, well, he's a larger than life figure. People call him the living gnome, the human gnome. He looks like the little gnome. It's always hard to point on these things, but there's a little gnome by the Union flag there, over there. You see a little gnome. Anyway, he's super friendly, big, boisterous, loud voice, very talented musically, puts his heart, soul in his music. He's very good, but he doesn't have the sound quality of the system at his place. And so when he's on YouTube, it just never sounds good. Like when you do stuff, Jade, you came on our show, you played your music, everybody was knocked out. Everybody went, holy man, is that good? And they just loved you. And so I want that kind of thing for Melo. So I asked him to, he has done this CD called Imagination, a lot of wordplay here. There it is, CD. And so I went through here, and the second song I thought, in my opinion, had a bit of a hook with it called The Living Game. Now, the setup on the video is I'm big into genealogy, and a distant-ish relative of mine named Annette de Kirby was an actress in the Our Gang, early Our Gang films, the silent versions. She's in a film called Dog Heaven. I took a clip of Dog Heaven with her in it so I could have fun seeing my relative. And then also get Melo's music on there, The Living Game, put it together, and that's what you get to see. Hi, Raging Tomato Sarah. I love Sarah. She's incredible. I like being on her show too.
Yeah, she's got a great channel too, the panel that she does as well, the Raging Tomato. Welcome, welcome, Sarah. All right, so we're going to play. This is called The Living Game. Now, I'm assuming you've like filmed this off a screen, and so the quality's not super cool. But all right.
No, it's all okay. But even if I had taken like from the original, it's not great. It's 1927 silent film is what it is.
So let's play this. We'll be back here shortly. All right, enjoy, kids. Let's do it right now. Let's Jeff. Melo D, and that was, if I can get my brain around things, that was The Living Game.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a super nice guy. Mello, we love you. And I really wanted especially to bring Mello on because there's so many different people. A couple of shout out. Can I do a quick shout out
Of
for
course,
a
you can
guy?
do whatever you want.
Well, no, I mean, it's your
No,
show, but
no,
I
really.
want
Shout
to.
out.
All right, we got that. We got that. Two shout outs. So two more albums I want to show is just one, Angelo Kelly, who watches the show. This guy is a multi-million-dollar record selling artist, okay, recording artist, does a lot of Celtic music. His family is the Kelly family. You can look them up. They're American, they're an American Irish connection hybrid. And he went big in Germany and in mainland Europe, the Kelly family, and then Angelo grew of age. He was a child star kind of thing, child performer, grew of age and married, got his own kids, and took them out. Really, as the Kelly family iteration number two, and then recently his kids are growing up, and now he's doing some solo projects. This is his album called Grace, absolutely beautiful on this very dark green vinyl, which I will show to effect. Just absolutely rich green colored vinyl, just beautiful, just very soulish, or soulical, I think I would say. Soulful, beautiful, beautiful album. Angelo Kelly, and one other, Mark Anthony K, AGK or AGK, aka Project Gemini. This is his latest. He's just fantastic. Called "What's on Your Mind." And we have people with different political leanings and everything. He's not mine. I'm more conservative politically, which is strange considering I'm a trans woman of color, exciting personality. But there you go on the gorgeous purple. This is the latest from Project Gemini, and we promote these artists a lot on my channel, and I like to recognize them and give them a big shout out. Right?
It is one of the things that drew me over to your channel is that not is it only talking about vinyl. There's bits and gags, and it can get a bit fiery at times. There's political
Yeah.
talk. It's a mix of so much stuff. But
Yeah.
what I do get from it, why I do keep coming back, is that I genuinely get an absolute love of music and art and comics and all the things that you love. So that's the core. That's what brings me back, because you really are passionate, and it shows through even in your politics. And people don't have to agree, because passion is very important.
Well, I mean, I've been around a while. I mean, my politics are framed by world events, like I would assume most people's. 9/11 was a big wake up call for me. And when we went in, we being the Americans, Canadians, and Brits, everybody supported a lot of the Western countries supported the war, not everybody. So I was all in on it. I saw the World Trade Center disaster 2001. That changed me. That it kind of activated me in some ways, and it provided what heretofore had been kind of a general laissez-faire trust, casual trust in the system, as you will, legacy media, etc. And I lost all my confidence in all of it, and I said, what the hell is going on, and why are these things happening? And so a big dose of doubt came into my worldview, and it started to change things. That in some ways dovetailed with my Christian bias, which I own and admit to and hold to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about your amazing partner, your producer. How did folks, you can probably hear Susie in the background there. Susie is Rachel's partner and producer of the television show. How did you guys meet? I don't know this. See, and I'm sure the Peanut Gallery, they know, but I don't know this. How did you guys meet? How did it all happen?
We met. She was a cocktail wait. She was a waitress in a cocktail bar. That much is true. And I screwed around and played around now. Oh, I still love you. Anyway, so yeah, she was working at a pizza joint, kind of a high-end pizza joint. It
Right.
was Greek-owned restaurant. It was part of a chain. And she was just working in there. The first time I saw her, I talked to her, looked her square in the eyes, and said, "Hello, nice to meet you." And she ran away and hid in the bathroom. she she wasn't used to somebody like, encountering somebody like me. And she felt, I don't know what do you think? What was going through your mind at that time, Sue? You explain it. She'll off camera, you'll hear her in the mic. She'll explain. She's right over there.
What's it supposed to be in this interview?
Yeah, but Jade's asked a
Yeah,
question.
you're
You
in
gotta
it
be-
now.
Okay. Well, I was working with Rachel's girlfriend when Rach was Dave. His gal pal was named Sandy, and I was working with her. You came into the restaurant for the
Yeah.
first time. I'd never met you before.
Yeah.
Sandy wasn't around. You just looked at me in the eyes, and it was just like you could see through me.
Yes.
And it was terrifying because I was an extremely introverted person. And I was like, "Hi, well, excuse me." And I just ran out to the bathroom, and I was like staring in the mirror going, "Why am I so freaked out?"
So really
Is
interesting.
that, prophetic or what? I mean, it was pretty crazy.
And also, very important to add, Sue is an extremely private person, even now.
Sure.
I am not. And
We are
I'm like, "Well, I'll
opposite.
tell you whatever the fuck you want." Sue won't. Sue is a very private person. So that's something to know, right? That's something so I honor with that. And I do try and protect her to the extent I'm able to, given the nature of the internet and how crazy it is. One of the things I always tell people, what surprised you about starting a YouTube channel and doing live streams? The biggest surprise, not in the prepared video where we'll hold a record up and we'll go, "Hi, I got myself a record. I love the record. It's a record." The thing that changed is when you're doing live stream, you're talking about, "Hey there, Bucky," or whoever it may be. And then you go, "I hate you with all I have in my being." And you go, "Okay, Bucky, well, it's nice to meet you, psychopath." And suddenly you learn, "I with all of my family, and you're a horrible person." And you go, "Oh my God," And so in our real life, we have zero drama. I mean, absolutely zero. But in the internet, holy shit. So it really took me by surprise as to how challenged the some of the individuals were out there with their own psychoses and instability, psychological instability. This from the tranny. That's the weird thing about it. But not necessarily holding down the quarterback position and the mentally well-adjusted.
We are like labeled a little bit mental, aren't we? But you know what? I'm just going to say it. There are a lot of batshit crazy trans people out there.
Oh yeah,
and
shit,
that's
yeah,
why I
met
don't
him,
hang
yeah.
around in that community much anymore, because there's a lot of, look, you either choose not to be a victim or you
Yeah.
choose to, but, unfortunately,
Yeah,
you are a
I
victim
just
and then
wanna
you
keep-
fall into it,
Oh yeah. I'm sorry for talking
No.
over you. But what I wanted to say is, I want to keep it real to the extent I'm able to. That's why I go, I'm a trans woman, right? I got a vagina, I got the breast implant. I've done everything humanly possible to pass as female in our society, in our culture, right? But that was then. This is now the evolution of the individual, the growth of the individual. And now I just don't give a shit about it anymore. I really don't. I'm all good. I'm all relaxed about it, right?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
just not an issue. It's just not an issue. And I don't care about pronouns, it just doesn't bother me. I go by she, her, because it's Rachel. That's my legal name. I legally changed it. I mean, I did all the steps, right? And but now I just don't. And if somebody calls me Rachel or not Rachel, but if they go lady or whatever, ma'am, when I'm out at a restaurant or something, then I'll act up a little bit more. I'll femme out a little bit more for the person to help ease them with the gender role. The
Sure.
gender roles are a real thing. I believe in the gender binary. That's another thing.
But you're not
male,
going to
female.
go all
Fine.
GameStop, are you? You're not going to go GameStop.
Oh, hell no.
No.
But I'll tell you one thing. I mean, the GameSpot story, this is when a trans woman
Yep.
goes in misgendered, freaks out because they're misgendered. So when I came on the internet, I said, what am I going to do? I go, I don't feel like going, hi, Rachel, you know, and doing all that. So I said, I'm going to call myself the Music Ma'am instead of the Music Man, like the great play Robert Preston, Shirley Jones. There were bells on the hill, but I never heard them singing. So I'm not going to do, I'll call it the Music Ma'am. And the ma'am was a direct reference to that character going in there, freaking out. You will call me ma'am. I thought it was hilarious. And it went viral. And I thought, man, why are you sweating with some kid, pimply faced teenager behind the counter at GameSpot is saying, you know, are you gonna have a fries with that?
Yeah.
Who cares?
There's
You
other
know,
things to
don't
get
worry
worked
about
up over. I look at it as it's like crossing the road. You just walk over the here. Like there's no point getting upset about it. The game spot thing it's a meme.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Like I have so much respect for you because like I look at those early pictures of yourself and you're all femmed out, glammed out, and you're just absolutely gorgeous. And then now I see you and there's more of a gender ambiguity, you know, just in terms of how you appear on screen and with the vocal and everything. And I just don't care. I just go, it's fine. So, and you go, pronouns she and her. I go, I'm all on board. You're she and her to me, you know, and we just go from there. It's no big thing, you know. Who the hell cares?
Yeah, and my thing, you know, was I was so into the whole transition and doing all the right things and all that. Unfortunately, I got sick,
Yeah.
and you know, they put me on steroids for 3 years, and it totally it fucked everything. What can you do?
Yes,
I
of course it will.
I had to live. Like if I didn't like have the surgery I needed, all this stuff, I wouldn't be alive. So I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, I
Well,
can
I'm
I
glad
can
you're
change
here
my
with
voice
us.
at any time. It's no problem. When I go
Yeah.
out, I'm not like this. I change it up as well too.
You can still whatever you want to do. yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And but
However
on
you wanna
YouTube,
present.
you're presenting every day. You're on here every day. Who's got fucking time to go and get ready and put makeup on
Yeah.
it? I want to inspire people to make music. That's my thing. I don't give a shit how I look. It's about music. That's how I feel
Yeah.
anyway.
Anyway, all I want to say, I have a ton of respect for you for
Thank
all
you.
that. And my philosophy is, you know, just keep it real. But yeah, when you first transition, you want to do the best you can in order to try and forge this new life for yourself. And believe you me, when I was transitioning and went in for the surgery, one of the girls that was there with us was a young lady named Jenna Telikova. Jenna Telikova is this absolutely stunning model, trans woman model. My God, this woman was beautiful. You couldn't believe it how absolutely stunning she was when I met her, and really super nice. She ended up getting a little bit of fame because she wanted to enter the Canadian branch of the Miss Universe pageant, owned by Donald Trump, and so she sued Trump and the organization to allow her to compete in the pageant, and she won that case. Gloria Allred was her legal defense for that. They did a number of interviews and there was a lot of media coverage of it. But I met Jenna, and she was getting surgery at the same time I was, different parts. I was kind of doing top surgery when she was doing bottom surgery, sort of thing. A super nice lady.
We walk among you, folks.
Yes, we're out there. Some girls, some of them are just amazing. And
Absolutely.
you know this too, Jade.
Yep.
That you'd never clock them, but some you don't. And this becomes a big issue within the trans community itself. The whole issue of passing and that sort of thing becomes a thing, right?
Absolutely.
And my bias is, hey, like if we're the ones that want to join the girls team, it's up to us to do as good a job as we can in order to avoid scrutiny. Why the hell wouldn't you want to do that? If you want to, you know, these characters, it's embarrassing when you see these guys with beards out there and they're running around with their tutus. We saw one like that. He was bald, had a little bit of, I don't know what the hell he was doing with the 5 o'clock shot, a little makeup, and he had a little girl tutu on and white clunky heels. It was absolutely macabre. And I'm tranny, so I go, holy shit, that's quite the look. I don't know if that's working, you know, quite frankly. Your mileage may vary.
Yeah, hey, look, each their own. Have a good time with that. That's what I say. Now, let's talk about genealogy.
Yeah,
Now,
big on
now
that.
I just want to say before we talk about this,
Yeah.
I'm not paranoid or anything, but I'm prone to sticking things in my mouth. I've done that a fair bit in my life. I've got to eat, and worked in the sex industry. But
Yeah.
so when you do this stuff, you've got to do a swab and send this off. Were you concerned about doing that before, to getting into genealogy, and were you scared that you might get some results that I don't know, Jack the Ripper was in your family or something like that, or were you excited about something, the prospects of that?
Okay, well, two different things. So genealogy at large is just simply the paper trail, right? Who's
Sure.
my grandfather? Where did great great granny come from? Who are my people? So because I was adopted, that's the catalyst for me. But it's another part of this existential questioning because I'm like adopted. My dad, as a kid, his pictures, my kid brother, blonde hair, blue eyed, both of them. My mom had darker hair and a darker complexion, but nothing kind of like what I was rocking. And she's a Welsh woman, right? 100% Welsh. My dad, we later found out he went to his grave not knowing the stuff I found out about him, his mother, the family, where they were from. I don't even know. His dad was in an orphanage in Liverpool. His My dad's father was born in Kulang Su, Amoy, China. We knew that. We had his birth certificate, and but his dad was a Welsh ship's captain. He was a master mariner sailing across the ocean, took his wife with him. By the time she was ready to deliver the baby, my grandfather, that happened in China. So my grandfather actually born. Now, this is all my adoptive side. I was told very early on. By the time I'm 3, 4 years old, I know I'm adopted. I remember in the kitchen, my mom telling me when I'm a little kid, right? So I grew up with that knowledge, but I never saw anybody that looked like me. In my world, we didn't live around Native people or First Nations people or anything like that. And as a little kid, I got a picture of myself and my brother to emphasize the reality here. I'm not doing this for the show. This is just a picture
Oh,
that's dear to me. But there I am, and I apologize for the kind of the blurring of it on this format. But I'm the darker, obviously, and there's my little brother, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Scotty. And so because of that, I want to know, well, what am I? And people would pejoratively or negatively go, "Hey, chief," put down words and stuff. I go, "What? Hey, what tribe are you?" I go, "What do you mean, what tribe? I don't freaking know. I'm a 5'2" Welsh woman trapped in here. Help me, for the love of God, I'm trapped." And so I didn't know. And but now I do. So the beauty was on the paper trail business. I didn't know who my biological mother was. I didn't know who my biological father was. My birth certificate said that my adoption paper said that my mom was Irish and Irish and French, and that my birth father was thought to be French. But the thought to be was always a question because people call me native, right? Especially when I was younger, I looked probably more native than I do now. But anyway, through all that, through the paper trail, through a 1955 phone book, I found my birth mother. I was able to track her and found my sister on Facebook because there were other family trees. Ancestry was up. Some people had done some preliminary research. And what my research was doing was adding up with this tree. And I'm seeing different names, McCullough and this sort of thing, Scottish names. And I'm going, I wonder what the hell, who is this? But it looks like it might be my family, my biological family. Turned out it was. I talked to my sister. I contacted her. I said, "Look, I've been researching for a number of years now, and I think you're my sister, my half sister." Turns out she was. She said, "I got to go work." I was worried that she would reject me. I wasn't looking to get involved with her. I wasn't looking involved to make recontact or be readopted in family or anything. It was just the sake of knowing. I wanted to know. I want to have answers. And so I reconnected with my biological siblings. Sue just handed me. Here's the gang. So there's my mother in the blue. I'm holding on to her there. My sister, half sister Cheryl, Maureen behind her, Nick, who's a professional sports fisherman, next to Cheryl. Cheryl's an American citizen, lives in Colorado, and there is Heather next to Nick, and then in behind is my brother Bruce. And the nice thing is that they're all genuinely nice people. They're nice people. And in a weird way, because my dad died in 98. My mom died in 2015, my adoptive mom. And so that was my family. They were my adoptive family, but they were all I ever knew, right? I was adopted when I was 2 weeks old. But I always wanted, what tribe and all this sort of thing. Found my mom through the paper. My mom, there's conflicting stories. My mom says she remembered the name of the birth father. They dated over a summer, so it was a summer affair where I evolved. I come out of that, and it started with my adoptive family. Genealogy with the adoptive family is a way of connecting with my late father. Had passed, so who was his dad? I knew my grandfather, never knew my grandmother. And so that was kind of the impetus for it. The second impetus, who am I? What am I? Am I India? What am I? And all the DNA has been done. And I showed on my show. Am I able to share anything on here?
I don't think so. I don't think
Okay,
it
don't
would
worry.
work
I
with.
won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Yep.
Suffice to say, I was just going to show you the DNA breakdown. And so I did the DNA. So the question you have, did I have any concerns? No, the overriding desire to find out who I was overrode any considerations of privacy or protection or health or any other thing. I said, I got to know these questions. The existential need outweighed any concerns for, physical safety or concerns of privacy that way, or medical, or being used for police reports or anything like that. And I have no regrets. I tested with 23andMe. I tested with Ancestry. I tested with, there was one other one I did. Oh, family tree DNA. So those are a big three. And then I shared and transferred the data findings for some of those in order to get a bigger reach, because each of them is proprietary. They don't get everybody in the gene pool out there that tests. You're all dependent on the company. My advice, people always ask us, so which should I get tested by? If you want to do ancestral DNA testing, I highly recommend number one, Ancestry, number two, family tree DNA, and number three, 23andMe. 23andMe coming in at number three. Those are the big three. Ancestry is the best. It's got the biggest database, so most people have tested through them. So I encourage people to do that. So yeah, no concerns, Jade. Do you know that? And this is tinfoil hat time. If you're concerned
I'm not concerned.
about no, but I'm talking to your audience. If you're concerned about the CIA or the FBI or whatever Australian, police, if you're worried about any of this, that's adorable. I can kind of do it as a
It's so
jockey
sexy.
angle. Okay, so if you're worried about any of that, if they want your DNA, they just go to your doctor's office.
Yeah.
Anytime they draw blood from you, you go in, you get a test. Oh, my rectum's acting up. I better get a blood test. And then you go in, your bum's being looked at, but your blood has been given. They got it there. They could be even going through your stool sample looking for little tidbits of indigested corn and make a new you out of corn. It'd be a corn mutant of you, but it would be you, just corn mutanted. Anyway, so I don't worry, I don't worry about any of that, right?
I don't. I don't either. It's like people who go, "Oh, I'm not going to put my info out there anyway. Just let me turn on my GPS."
So the great thing about that, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
GPS, exactly. They can track, find, do.
Yeah.
The other thing, if they want to lock you up, they'll lock you up. The other thing you asked about was any surprise of Jack the Ripper. I don't worry about that. The whole idea of reparations, for Black people. I get people that match me that are of African descent all the time, because one of my ancestors was a massive slave owner by the name of Valley. In fact, I've got a book here that's just chronicles this guy's story. And, he was the largest slave owner, kind of like from the Mississippi Delta down to the Gulf of Mexico. It was amazing. And, it's not, I wouldn't do it. I mean, but it was what it was at the time. We cannot judge a past generation. You can't penalize the current generation on what the sins of the fathers were, right?
Yeah, true.
I see no justice in that, right? I've never owned a slave in my life, you know.
No.
Now, other than Loki, who's more of a sex slave,
Oh,
but that's
God.
different. Anyway, so I don't worry about that. One guy that's related to me was an ex-Marine that was in Vietnam, and he went home and on one Sunday killed his mom, killed his sister's two children, and killed one other. He killed four people because I'm going through the genealogy and I'm finding the records and I go, what the hell? Everybody died on the same day. What's going on there? And then I went, oh, I bet you it's a car crash. But no, it was worse than that. It was he went insane, post-traumatic stress. He went and killed everybody. My Eddie asked, where do you get your native DNA from? Now that part I can answer that. That comes through my father's side. I'm largely Cree Indian, Western Plains Indian Cree, with specific kind of locations. I'm also Dene Indian. Dene, I'm part Dene. Those people, these are in the paper trail with the other thing, with the paper trail combined with the DNA. So I'm quarter DNA native. It shows up. Um, but it comes through my dad's side. Dene Indians are subarctic. They're just below the Inuit people. Then you get the Dene, and then you get the Cree below them. So they're subarctic people, right? But native Indian Dene people. You can find them out in Saskatchewan and Alberta, parts of northern Alberta and northern Saskatchewan. I'm also Kiowa. My fourth great grandfather was a guy known as Louis Old Kiowa Brazeau. Many of the sites and locations in Missouri are named after Brazeau. Many sites, he ended up being born in St. Louis, emigrated up to Canada, where he became a fur trade postal kind of factor. And a lot of mountains, lakes, rivers, etc., plains out in Alberta are named after him, Brazeau as well. This is a very rich fur trading family. They owned most of downtown St. Louis. Their founding families in St. Louis. I got people buried at the old church there in St. Louis. My ancestry goes back to the plains of Abraham in Canada, where the nation was born and forged. I'm part of the Perche French, which so many people are related to. You can look up a guy named Zachary Cloutier on Wikipedia, Zachary Cloutier, and about 150 celebrities are all related to this person, French ancestry. People, Ricky Gervais is a distant cousin, Madonna is a cousin, Ryan Reynolds is a cousin, Ryan Gosling's a cousin. Excuse me. Many of them, even the Power Ranger, Kimberly, the pink Power Ranger, that lady, she's a cousin of mine. Bob Goulet is a cousin. So you go back to the Plains of Abraham, and Martin Abraham was my 10th great grandfather. I'm also related to Louis Vincennes. He's the guy that they named the Vincennes light aircraft carrier or light cruiser, missile cruiser, after it shot down a plane in 1991. An Iranian jet was shot down by the USS Vincennes. An earlier light cruiser, USS Vincennes, served in World War II, was sunk off Savo Island off of Guadalcanal in World War II. And through DNA and through my biological side, my mom's first cousin, he died in 2017, a guy named Michael Kennedy. Michael Kennedy was a legal representative for Ivana Trump in 1991 and won a reported 25 million off of Donald Trump in the divorce settlement for Ivana. So you find a lot of stuff. My grandmother, we found out that she was previously married. My father had no idea about this. He was long gone by the time I discovered it. Through DNA, through a match in England. She was born in London. We knew that. She wasn't born in East London in Whitechapel, where we thought she was born. My uncle went over, got a birth certificate. She hid her identity, created a false identity. DNA solved that mystery, reconnected with somebody else. So very interesting that we found all that information out. Jade, are you there?
I'm
There
here.
you are.
Listen,
All
I
right.
do these interviews and I let people talk. That's the thing. There's
Yeah.
nothing worse than having a host sitting here and dominating the
No,
chat,
I
you
get
know?
it. I
So
get it.
I want
Yeah.
your story
So
to be told.
yeah, so the findings are amazing. The band Squeeze, there's a girl named Maxine Barker. She was dating Glenn Tilbrook, who's in the band Squeeze, right? Great band, English band for Deptford. She's dating Glenn Tilbrook. He's too nervous to phone up Chris Difford, who's put an ad in the paper in the window at a sweet shop looking for a guitar player that'll help him do music. He won't talk to her, so my cousin phones up Difford, says, my boyfriend plays guitar, would love to get together with you. He likes the kind of music that he put out. I like the Kinks, the Beatles. He wrote a bunch of bands he liked. Without the intervention of my cousin Maxine, though, that band never would have happened. That was cool to understand. And then she's my fourth cousin, but she is the first cousin of Tarquin Gotch. Tarquin Gotch ended up working in Hollywood. He did the music for Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He did the music for Home Alone. He got in trouble for doing Ferris Bueller's Day Off because he got the rights to the Beatles version of Twist and Shout, but he added a brass band to it, which the Beatles never approved of, or Apple headquarters never approved of. And so they never gave him permission to use Beatles again. He was the manager for Brian Johnson of AC/DC. He is also was the manager of the late John Lord from Deep Purple. And he's also the former manager of XTC, a band I enjoy quite a bit, of course. A lot of cachet for XTC in the vinyl community. So all these findings I've gotten, I've been in touch with different people. I talked to Michael Kennedy's son, who's a Hollywood producer, documentarian, did a documentary, was nominated for an Oscar, a film in Hollywood, and on and on and on it goes. The discoveries are endless. They're incredible. They're fantastic. And so I've answered all my questions, and I'm Scottish as well. My Y DNA goes all the way back into Scotland, the Outer Hebrides. If you're really to give me a name, it would be the Macaulay name would be it out of all the names I could carry. And I've carried quite a few, it seems. But yeah.
I think it's
interesting.
wonderful. I love that you're so interested in it and you found so much information. I just think it's really, really
Yeah.
cool that you're into that.
New discoveries every day, Jade, with that. So a real passion for me.
Let's play some music. We got a couple more artists to get out of here. Next, we're going to be talking about, after this song, your television show. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about First Boy on the Moon? Drown It Out.
Yeah.
Who is this artist, Rachel?
Okay, this is David Pedroia, really a one-man operation. He's got two albums. The song I've chosen is off his first album. I'm a big fan of this guy as well. We've interviewed him on the show. He's originally from California, soft-spoken, very sweet guy. Just love him. One of the rewards, Jade, when you do this stuff, here's his latest album. That's Gene Shrimpton, the model, the 60s model, wrote a lovely little letter to me, just saying thanks for promoting his music. But the biggest thank you, and it's on, the first album's on beautiful blue, this on this gorgeous red. But the killer for me here, this just knocked me out. On the back here, right there,
Nice. Yes.
Rachel's goes. And it goes, thanks to the vinyl community. So he acknowledges all us record collectors, especially Steve Carlson, who's just one of the best. And yours truly here, Rachel's goes. So, I mean, it's a bit of a trip to have your name on an album. And going back just briefly to Joey Kelly for a sec, he's also in a band called Data, which is a power trio. So he does 7-horse, he does Data as well. Band out of California. They had a huge hit with Disneyland. We go down to Triple Door, Seattle, where I saw Nora Maslow, Rob the Wax, a bunch of friends, P-Town Music, Juve, who's here watching. I love Juve. So many great guys. Harry's Music Room. Harry's not feeling well. Harry, get better soon. Just so many great people. Anyway, Joey's doing the show. We're watching the show. He comes on the encore, and he's wearing one of my shirts for the encore. It's got Rachel's Ghost, the TV show. I mean, do you want to talk about a surreal moment where you're seeing, you're paying like any other show. You go to see your rock star thing, and the guy comes out wearing your shirt. Boom, mind blowing, absolutely crazy, surreal stuff. So the show's brought a lot of reward. But First Boy on the Moon, the song I chose is off his first album. It's called Drown It Out. I think it's such a great song. It's so catchy. And just close your eyes. If you want to do the visuals, they're fine. But for your audience, just close your eyes. Listen to this thing bop. What a catchy tune. All right.
Let's do it. You ready? Let's Oja.
I'm taking it back, right back to the start. Well, sweet memories tell who we are. I'm taking it back, right back to the start. Someone said, play it from the heart. Play it from the heart. Tell me about that day today. Could it be why I hear you say, turn up the sound? Don't turn it down. Pulling you up from under the sun. Could only imagine what you were thinking of. It's just like you block it all out. And just like you, I'm gonna drown it. I'll drown it right out, so far out. But level just ain't good enough. Turn up the sound. Don't turn it down. Why is it so hard to hear your voice? Could it be so tough to make that choice? Turn up the sound. Don't turn it down.
Awesome track. Awesome
Yeah, I
track.
like it. Yeah, it's good.
Now, remember, folks, all the links to these artists are in the description. All their YouTube channels are down there. So go up and subscribe to them. Make sure you do that. Check out their music. We've got all of them down there, and all of Rachel's links to her YouTube channel, X, and Instagram's down there as well. Do all the things. Go down, like, all that stuff. And look who's in the house. There he is. We played you already. There's Melo D. He's here. Has he been hiding out? Welcome, Melo. So we're going to talk about, before we get out of here for the day, see you later, Johnny. And thanks to everybody for hanging out here today and spending some time with us. How did you fall into this bloody YouTube game? How did you get into YouTube and create this manic television show? Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, the mania is myself, right? I mean, I'm the maniac that's kind of behind it all. But the influences were, just YouTube. Generally, I've been around YouTube since it kind of opened up. I've been on the internet for a very long time. I wrote a book, actually. Hang on for a sec. It's right here. Oh, kick that over. I'm gone. In a previous life, I was really involved with the flight sim community. So I wrote this book with Doc Doom, who's from Australia originally, Melbourne, and Burbank Books published. Gosh, I can't do Burbank. There it is. The late Burbank, who was the publisher. Burbank Books is published. As a matter of fact, this book is registered in the Australian, your version of Library of Congress in Australia. Anyway, it chronicled the creation of community and stuff. So I'm very connected with the internet. I've been around the internet a long time. And YouTube comes along. And so one of the first things I start looking for are the Beatles, my favorite band, right? So I got Beatles all over the place here. And so I started looking, I could find Beatle videos. But not only did I find Beatle videos, but I saw people talking about Beatles. And one of the best at it, and he is to this very day, and he hates it. He absolutely hates this part of my story. Whenever anybody asks about how did you do YouTube, and I'm like, two main influences. One was Ron Beaudry, two guys that couldn't be any more different from each other, Ron and Mazzy, both great guys in their own way. Ron got me back into collecting records. That's why I've got 1,500 records in my collection now. Sue, you can blame Ron Beaudry for the records. Because there was so nostalgia. I see him opening up. I go, I had that record. Showing I had that record. I said, I'm going to get that record back. And so that kind of got me back doing records, right? The other character is Norman Maslow. I've had the great honor, the privilege of meeting Mazzy on 2 occasions. And with any luck, there's going to be a lot more in our collective future. I just love the guy. You know what's weird about DNA and genealogy? Mazzy was adopted. He did his DNA. And I saw a match in Washington State that I shared and that I knew it matched him. And I said, what the heck? I know that name. And I went and looked at it. And I said, well, does Mazzy match me? And he didn't match me. So it told me that whatever we match, it's way back in the history. But he actually came up as a match for my mom and my sister, Maureen. So Mazzy is a genetic match as family, distant family, to both my mom and my sister, Maureen. And if he's related to them, then he'll be genetically connected to me. You would just have to move the parameters by which you measure the DNA, right? The centimorgans, you would do a different count. Anyway, and you would relax the controls on it. But under the most stringent controls going, he's a match, which is, I mean, amazing, right? So here's this guy. He talks stories. He knows about the Beatles. He never saw them. He had a chance. He tells that his story. But he was so good at talking about music, records, anecdotes. He's from San Francisco, born and raised. He's a musician. He worked in the industry. He knows people. He knows a lot of people, and he knows a lot about music. I just love him. And I said, God, that guy's so good. And I was inspired, Jade. Simply put, he inspired me. And I said, I'm going to do it too. So I started doing what Mazzy did, do the record, but I didn't have the skill or the ability that Mazzy had at doing it. It was unmatched. And then one day I was seeing this one of these live streams. Randy Deadwax was doing a live stream. Maybe I should try my hand a live stream. And it took off, and it sent a seismic shockwave, if I don't overemphasize it, through the vinyl community. Nobody had really done it the way I'm doing it. It was a free range talk show. I think the first time I opened up, we got 35 people in. The show stayed at about 35 for maybe a couple of months. Then the word started going out, and then it jumped 35, and it got 65, 70. At its peak, we were drawing in 300 people, but through personal conflicts, not always with myself, the host, but with different personalities, fragmentation would occur, feelings would be hurt, disagreements in personality and temperament. And so people would oh, I'm more loyal to this person, that person. And so right now, I'm averaging about, I'm going to say 152 or so per show right now. So I've had to rebuild. One of the things that really impacted it was the assassination attempt on Trump, and so that was a really traumatic event for me. I'm a Trump supporter, and a lot of people just can't stand Trump, so they go, "Oh, unsubscribe right away." But again, now this is why what did you title me on this? Complex or complicated or
beautifully complex? Beautifully, there you go.
Yeah, there's a lot of contradictions within myself. Trans woman, a visible minority, where I've had prejudice. People go, hey, chug, and all the defamation towards being Native American. Even though I didn't have the culture to grasp hold on because I was adopted out, so I couldn't go, well, my uncle, Red Feather or whatever. And believe you me, I've got people in the family, cousins that are related, second cousin distant, that are like Rabbit Skin is the family name, or White Horse. They have these amazing First Nations, they would call them First Nations over here, but native names, right? Cree and Ojibwe. I'm connected to the Ojibwe people. And I'm also connected to the Comanche people, which is interesting. And our traditional enemies, the Apache. Holy smokes, the Comanche. But yeah, so it's all kind of cool that way. But so I have the answer to all that now, right? Yeah, and there's a picture on the of the channel itself, Rich's Ghost, a banner, just kind of this ghostly thing. A lot of shorts. I do music. Sue help with those. And then we've got the live stream, which is the essence. Now, the reason I call it the TV show, Jade, is because people go, oh, that Rachel, they think they're so great over there. They think they're all TV stars. And so because they were, kind of attacking me on it, I did I borrowed a page, I guess, from Sarah, the Raging Tomatoes book. And I said, I'm going to just call this damn thing the TV show. And it's like, welcome, it's a TV show. I'm a big celebrity. Look out. And I just sold it that way because it's a joke. If people are going to take this thing seriously and get their nose bent out of joint, I figure, well, why not run with it, call it the TV show? And so it kind of stuck. People like it. The first channel got taken down. I was Rachel the Music Ma'am, but it was taken down for sexual impropriety, if you can believe it. Absolute nonsense. It's just a show but we had people come on. We had Stunty would come on, one of our guys, and he'd come in and draw, a male appendage or something, and it would be spraying all over. And then the show that got taken down was somebody had an avatar with coitus occurring on their avatar. But these avatars are so small, and if you're seeing some act of coitus, there's no face, and you go, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And so I brought it up on screen to look at it. And as soon as I did that, whoever was doing it was ready, and they contacted YouTube, and I guess they were monitoring me because of all the complaints or whatever, and boom, the channel disappeared. I am not under any dissolution that this channel could go away at any given time, right? I'm aware of it. I know that there are people that are actively, anxious to see the end of it at any given moment. But we soldier on bravely. Some news about the channel. The second channel, because I did bring it back, it was a chance to rebrand a bit. I said, I've played out the Music Ma'am. Everybody knows who I am now that are in the vinyl community. They all know about my trans history, so I don't have to sell that anymore. And I just went with Rachel's Ghost, and it worked out really well.
I love
Rachel's
it.
Ghost.
Look, and from when I first started watching you, it was when Cherry was interviewed, and then
Yeah, Cherry's wonderful, by the way.
I started like subscribing to vinyl channels and stuff that you suggest and stuff.
Yeah.
I see that, this is not meant to be insulting in any way, but the vinyl community, people are showing a lot of records, and it seems to be very serious stuff. And your show it's something a little bit different. It still has all of that there, but it feels like to me like that it's a pressure release for because there is a lot of fun stuff. There's a lot of laughs that happen, and it does get a bit crazy. Scotty Dog. We know
Yeah,
Scotty Dog from
we
this
share,
community. Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
part of this community and completely off his rocker. And
Well,
then
poor guy, he just went nuts. you know?
yeah, he went nuts here as he went on. He sent me an email saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so to see him over there, I remember when he first came on, I was like, oh my God, he's found this channel as well. But, it's very entertaining. And I know there's quite a few people now from this community. I know Hugh watches it every night. I know Brad watches. A whole bunch of people from this community are coming over. And I'm there every now and again. I try not to come up all the time because,
No, we love having you on though, and the people have really embraced you, Jade, and they have a lot of respect for you. So you've been a really positive addition. Not everyone that comes on is going to be able to stay in the cauldron, so to speak. It's a tough gig. It's a very tough gig. I think some people are just simply afraid to come on it, quite frankly, just because it can be quite volatile. I got to do a piece of news for your viewers. Crazily enough, through the Jazz Bums, through Rob the Wax, a jazz guy, and I don't want to say his name yet or anything unless he okays it, because I don't want to put any pressure on him. But suffice to say, he approached and said, Rachel, your show is interesting to me. It's such a melting pot of liberal sensibility and conservative thought. I would love to do a short documentary, like a short film about your crazy show. And he said, would you be into that? We'd have a meeting. So we've agreed. He's got a cinematographer. Apparently he's got a sound guy. We don't want to say when it's going to occur, it's going to be made, but he's got everything all squared away. And he'll be coming over here with a film crew to basically do a documentary on the TV show, Rachel's Ghost Show. So, I mean, flattered, knocked out, funny. I mean, I think the whole idea is hilarious, and unexpected. But there's been these great, wonderful events that come out of the people I've met, the vinyl community. We call it the vinyl community love train. You talk about a record or something on your show, and somebody will say, "Oh, you don't have that? I'll get that for you." And the people are so very generous. So the latest is Matthew Petty, an individual who could not disagree with me more strongly on any of my political nonsense. But here he is. He gifted these two free records to both of us. One is the Cramps, and the other is a lovely Blue Note presentation. And Blue Note is that label there. And this Cramps record, lovely orange. But he asked nothing in return. He just said, hey, if you don't have that, I got one I'd like to send you. So I said, yeah, I mean, yes, please. And this happens all the time in the vinyl community.
Yes.
And I've given records out and sent things to people too. So
that was one of the first things I noticed when I started watching 2 years ago, that for all the the bits and gags and all that stuff getting thrown around and people getting chucked under the bus and fights and all this stuff, there's a lot of love that happens, and people sending records out at no cost and stuff, and that's really beautiful. I love the balance that you have on the channel. So I think it's wonderful.
it's hard to do. It's hard to keep it flowing. It's hard, especially when the politics are the most divisive out of all of it. And I don't back down. I hit hard. But what I do like is that we have liberal voices on the channel, and I want to give them fair say and fair thrift on the show to say their opinion, right? Because I think it's valuable. These are good people. Mazzy could not disagree with me any more strongly. Like he's very much the opposite of me politically, but he comes by it honestly. He comes through it through his own integrity, through his own history, through his own story. So you can't fault a man like that. So I have a great deal of respect. Yeah, not just for Massey, but for his political view. I happen to disagree with it, but it's not that oh, I'll call him an idiot on the show, but it's family. It's my cousin. I got family pass on, but no, he's no idiot. Yeah, he's a smart guy.
All right. So the show happens every day.
Yes.
You're in Canada, so that's what's that time? See, I can't even think. I
Well,
know here
I'll
it's
do it,
11
yeah.
p.m. for me.
Yeah, I'll do the heavy lifting on that one because Canada, big real estate, right? It's a big country. So we've got Atlantic time, we've got Eastern time, we got Central time, we got Mountain time, we got Pacific. I'm on the West Coast, so I'm in the same time zone as Washington State, Oregon State, and California. So Pacific Coast time, basically, PST. So right now, as we're doing this, my time, it is 5 o'clock in the evening. So around the dinner hour here, Jade.
Yep.
Jade, I love you. I'm so thrilled to be able to come on here. I hope I was able to interest, not wax on too much about the genealogy. I know people's eyes tend to glaze over with that, but
No. This is what
hang in there.
You're like my somewhere around 160th interview, and what I try and do here is let people speak. Right, it's the same thing. You mentioned Joe Rogan, right? I don't agree with everything Joe Rogan says. I used to a lot more. He's kind of, I don't know, maybe he's been punched a few too many times, but I do respect his style of interview where he does let people speak. And I think, we live in a world where too many YouTube interviewers sit there and just we don't want to hear that.
The topic is so interesting. Like he's talking about, what is that stuff they take, the drugs, ayahuasca or something. They're and they're seeing little robot people.
Well,
and
I've done
some
that a
people
few
stoned out.
times.
Yeah, like that stuff. I mean, I've never done that. I'll never will do it. But I kind of go, wow, it's all part of the human experience.
People see the same thing.
Yeah, we all see the
Well,
green
that's
men and confront our
inner demons or whatever the hell it may be dancing around you. But all that kind of stuff, pyramids, Antarctica, UFOs, the Kennedy assassination. I find all that interesting. Why the hell not, right?
Same.
It's relaxed because I do music. We do music so heavily and so frequently. Music takes up a lot of my energy. It's nice to do something entirely different. That's why I like Sarah's program. I go on Sarah's show because it has nothing to do with vinyl community or music. So it's an escape. It's something different, right?
I say this here all the time on this channel. Like as a musician, we get a lot of people dealing with imposter syndrome and, fear and all this stuff. Go and do other things aside from music. This is where great ideas come from. Other hobbies, take a walk, eat an ice cream, play a video game, do things that make you happy and you'll get inspiration from them because variety is the spice of life. I have one final question I ask everybody who comes on the show, Rachel.
Yeah.
If you were going to give advice to somebody starting out, either making music or collecting things or being creative, when would be the best time for them to start?
The optimal time?
Anytime.
Start early. Start young. I mean, obviously, it's a youth game. Follow your passion at any age, whatever the hell you do. You gotta believe in what you're putting out there. If you don't believe it, if you're just looking, hey, I can do YouTube and make money off it or something it'll never work. To me, I don't think it'll work.
True.
I think you got to believe in what you're doing. You got to put that, and that'll resonate people because they may not like you, they may not agree with you, but they'll go, well, I don't know why this person would even believe that shit, but apparently they do, and if you have that authenticity, that should be able to resonate with people. And if you have whatever talents you have, whatever gifts you are, play to your strengths and be aware of your weaknesses and recognize also that your greatest strengths will often frequently be your greatest weaknesses as well. Your greatest strength is often your greatest weakness. That's one thing I've learned as well. So I'm talkative. That's the strength. Talk too much, that becomes a weakness. It's not a good thing, right?
Absolutely. I want to thank those who have sent super chats or donations today. We got Susie's Ghost. We got Ivan the Music Man, P-Town Music Room. Mr. Smith did some gifted subs. David Donnelly, Camp G-May, Loki, and I do believe Star Trekker gifted some memberships as well. So thank you very much for that. Love you long time. And And, what else do I
I
have to
love
cover?
that.
I've used that expression a lot in Thailand over the
I love it.
years.
Yeah, I love it.
So also now, as I said, all of Rachel's links are down in the description and all of that jazz, as well as all the artists today. I want to thank DistroKid, our sponsor. Thank you, DistroKid. Love you lots. We are going out today with who are we going out with? David Donnelly. Tell us about this wonderful
Yes.
artist, my friend.
Well, first as a human, I'll tell you about the man. He's the kindest, sweetest guy. I just love him. He's become a big part of my show. He's become a big part of the vinyl community. He's a gifted. Starts off on drums. He plays bass. He's played on stage with The Cure. He's played with Tony Visconti. I believe he's recorded with Tony. Yes, he has recorded with Tony Visconti. His resume is extensive. He's still, to me, he's a young guy. I just love him. He's done various music projects. He's with, I think the one I've got now is one of his more recent efforts. He's constantly in the studio. We're lucky to see him whenever we're able to see him. I love him. David Donnelly. What did we got? What did we pick for him? I can't even remember which one I
You
chose.
chose Ultimately Nothing Really Ends.
Yeah. And
Peaceful
what is the-
Cacophony.
Okay, Peaceful Cacophonies. This is one of the projects that David's been involved with. David also has appeared on the Mark Anthony K, the Project Gemini albums that I showed. David is a frequent guest on those albums, lends his talent there. Absolutely amazing guy. We love all these artists from Joey. Joey is I'm just a fangirl for Joey Callio. I love Joey so very, very much. One of the nicest guy I ever met. And to meet this guy and the accomplishments of all these people, from Melo D all the way through David Pedroia, Louis Guller, and of course, David Donnelly. So let's hear him.
Fantastic. Stay on the line, please, Rachel. The show will end after the
Yes.
music, so I can say goodbye to you. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for hanging
Thank
out
you.
today. Thank you all, everyone who came over from the Peanut Gallery and all the regular viewers. Thank you so much. I'll be back. Let me tell you, the next live stream here on the channel will be this Saturday, US time. It'll be, so get the right thing up here. It's this one. It is the Faith No More Part 2 opening hour, where I'm playing more of my favorite Faith No More songs. You guys know how much I love Faith No More. I'm going to lose my plot, probably put my neck out, scream a whole lot, because it's always fun. So come and join us for that. All right, let's do this now. We've got everything lined up. I'm professional. Thank you, OJCs, for the kind donation as well. Remember, folks, like I say at the end of each show, do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better. We'll all rise together. Stay the fuck awake, and let's OJ.
Yes.
See you later.